There it is.
Or
Okay, I can actually see you this time. Can you see me?
yes, I can see
Can
you.
you...
I'm just like, move slowly.
Hi!
Hi.
It's always good when technology doesn't work, right?
Yeah, no, my heart's racing, and I'm like, there's nothing to worry about. It's just not working.
It's all good. Just take a breath. Okay, we're ready. We're ready. I'm so excited about this, though. I know that it's a bit time pressured now, but be like,
Well, I had a client doing a 635-mile round trip to have her. Yeah,
wow.
I know. So she was a bit late because she got lost, so that was fine. So yeah, we are a bit time pressured, but we could do this again.
Absolutely. We can do like half now, half another time. That'd be really good as well. Like bring more people in.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you can shut me up.
that that's okay. What we'll do is just like quick fire round.
Mm.
You're
Well,
free.
I guess a lot of the people that watch your videos won't have a clue what an aura transformation is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'll let you lead.
Brilliant. Well, I thought you've frozen now, but I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay.
Um, I thought I would just go with some very general questions at first, because obviously these are things that I've wondered about. The Annie Senov's book, Balance on All Levels, and in preparation for my own aura transformation in January. And there were things that I wondered about at first, like what is an aura transformation? So if we can start there, and if you can just tell me in like 2 sentences, maybe, just what it is. If you can, that's a difficult one.
2 sentences. Um, I think an aura transformation is a 4-hour treatment, which is like a total upgrade of your aura structure, the energy you carry around you. So it's dissolving a lot of the stuff that you've accumulated over time that doesn't really serve you anymore, and it kind of gives you it gives you a fresh energetic start. So you can just have more focus, more energy, more clarity. You can really get on with the stuff that you love doing and let go of the stuff that maybe holds you back.
That sounds great, absolutely. And even more basic than that, maybe, what is the aura? How would you describe the aura?
So I know Annie Senov likes to say that your aura is your radiance. It's basically all your emotions, all your thoughts, all your experiences, and how they've recorded over time in your energy field. So it's like the quality of what you put out in the world is sort of it's mimicked in the energy field around you. So it's nothing very mysterious about it, really. It's like you know how waves erode a cliff, they leave like a shape or a pattern. Your behaviors and your energy are leaving like eroded or wave marks in your aura. So it's just the aura mimics your lifestyle and what you put out in the world, I think. And you can have a really messy aura or a very broken aura, if you blow it to bits, or you could have like a really clear, crystal clear, friendly, loving aura. So it's, even a leaf has an aura, a carrot has an
Yeah,
aura,
you can photograph it,
it's just,
can't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nothing, it does sound quite woo-woo and out there, but actually it's quite a normal, it's just a normal thing. We all have an energy field. We all emit some sort of vibration. I mean, they say the heart can emit for age. I can't remember the exact distance, but the resonance or the beat of the vibration of the heart goes a long way.
Long, long
So,
way. And the only reason why they say about 8 feet or however long it is because that's how far the measuring equipment can actually measure it. So
oh
apparently it's
wow.
way bigger than that, but we just haven't got the equipment to measure how big the electromagnetic field of the heart is. It's massive. It's pretty.
Well, right now I can feel your heart, and you're miles away.
Yeah, right. So okay, so let's go into that a little bit. I know that you say that you can't, that seeing auras in the sort of traditional sense of seeing different colors and stuff is not really what you do, but you can see parts of the energy structure. Is that right?
So what I mean, the way I explain it is that I'm seeing I mean, anyone can practice enough to do it, and I've just practiced and practiced and practiced, is seeing what's actually there. It's just not visible to the, you know, the normal frequencies that we look at people with. So it's just like it's almost like I ask myself to shift dimensionally or shift frequently just a tiny bit, just enough to see like the imperceptible movements of energy around the body or in the aura. And but I also know that I'm quite, like, personally, I'm quite sensitive. Like, I can hear the alarms that humans aren't supposed to hear and that kind of thing. I know children can as well, but it never went away really. So I just knew that I was hearing things that are just a tiny degree or two away from the normal hearing and seeing.
Yeah.
But it's something you can practice. It's something you can practice. But what I'm seeing around people, if I choose to do it, and I don't when I'm walking around or if I'm sitting with a friend, but if in my work scenario, or in circle time, or it does surprise me sometimes. I'm like, whoa, I'm seeing things, you know. And what I see is, well, for example, the quality of the aura. If it's really damaged, even, you know, people that aren't trying to see anything can tell actually when someone's energy field is weak or damaged. You know, there's like, you know, people looking a bit ashen and drawn and tired and that kind of almost porous. To me, it looks like, because I used to look like it, almost like the skin is depixelating slightly. It's like they're kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but a damaged energy field is actually quite visible once you know what to look for. And, you know, you can have a damaged energy field from like having a car accident, you know, and the jolt or the shock, or any big shock to the system, whether it's an emotional heartbreak or the death of a parent, or you know, like a shocking, like being in an accident, falling down the stairs, drugs and alcohol, anything that shocks the system on all levels can really affect the quality of the aura.
Okay, so this is what causing.
But I think when you play it back, it doesn't show. It just keeps going. So I don't know if you saw that.
What was that?
But
what happened?
The video, sometimes it says broadcast interrupted, but I think it just carries on when we play back. So
well, I didn't see that, so so that's what causes a leaky aura then, so these traumatizing or shocking events that happen to us.
Yeah, I mean, even just slowly eroding your health, you know, it doesn't have to be big shocks. It could be over time eating food that poisons you, or radiation, or not going outside enough, or not being in your body enough, taking loads of medication, all those kind of things. It can also be slow process, you know. You could sabotage your own health, you know, through your daily practices.
Okay.
But so that's seeing the frazzled aura. You can also see it by listening to what people say. Like, oh, I'm exhausted by the end of the day. Oh, my kids frazzle me. You know, I can only be around them so long because they're really high frequency, the children of today. So parents that have high frequency children, well, all those children today are high frequency compared to their parents. It's like the kids are trying to bring the parents up to their frequency, and it's quite frazzling. It's like being burnt slowly. And so parents that are like, oh God, kids, you know, I love them, but I can't be in the same room more than an hour or two or something like that. That's like for me, that's like the aura's damaged, so it's hard to be in that space too long, in the higher frequencies too. You can also hear it when people say, oh, I can feel everyone's stuff, and I don't know if it's mine or theirs. I'm feeling, you know, if I'm near people with lots of emotion, or when I do a massage on people and I take home all their stuff, and you know, it takes me ages to clear. That to me is an indication that the aura is damaged, because there's no more protection. There's no energetic filter, like the protection is broken. So other people's energy is easily infiltrates.
Yeah, absolutely. So during the aura transformation, your aura is then upgraded to this new energy that is coming to Earth at the moment, like the new time energy that all the children are being born with at the moment. Is that right?
So it interrupted after the first sentence. So you might have to ask me that one again.
Oh, okay.
And I just had to. Yeah.
I was saying that, so when we have an aura transformation, or when I have an aura transformation in January, my aura will be in a sense upgraded to this new energy that's coming to Earth at the moment through, and that the children are being born with. Is that how you kind of describe it?
So the crystal and indigo children, the indigo children have been around like 20 odd years, and the crystal children about 10. And if you look at it in the big historical, astrological change of the character, from, is it Pisces to Aquarius? I'm not an astrologer, but there's this big big shift in the Mayan calendar. There was this prophesizing of the big awakening in 2012 or whatever it is, and this, if you think about it, you can't really, 26,000 years ago, you can't really draw a line in the sand and say, yes, that's the exact date. So it's kind of like, give or take 20 years, we're in it, we're in this big change, this big shift. And the crystal children are the answer we've been looking for. They are the shift, the crystal and indigo children. The indigo children came first, and they're like the avant-garde, they're like the ones that are going to shake up the old world and say, this isn't working. And
a lot of those in young
they're going to like rattle the cage. They feel the injustice deeply. They don't really want to fit in. It's like they're seen as rebellious and difficult. They've got ADHD. They're depressed. They're medicated. The indigos have it quite hard, to be honest, because they've come to rattle the cage, and that's really difficult on all the old aura parents that have indigo children. So even within in a house, you have like a war, like there's a bit of a war of the frequencies and the energies going on. Like the indigos are saying, this isn't working, your boxes are too small, I'm bigger and I can't fit in it, this needs to change. And the parents are like, oh my God, they don't want to play ball. And the crystal, so they kind of led the way for the crystal children, the wave of crystal children. And crystal children are quite different to the indigos. They also are very connected to what's right and wrong, but they're so integrated within their own bodies and their own hearts and they're like wise beyond their years. They're very clear. They see what's going on, but they don't feel the need to go break anything or rattle anything or change anything with what is there. They rather go and build the new world or their way over here without all the conflict and the aggro. So, and I felt that distinctly, those shifts, when I had my aura transformation. So a few years ago, you'd go from the old aura dissolving, you'd leave an aura transformation with an indigo aura. It's like the bridge. And then eventually over the year, for me, 4 months later, I crystallized more and became crystal aura. Now, when you have an aura transformation, you're going to go straight to the crystal aura. You don't even do the indigo thing. I mean, some people have a little bit of the thread, the indigo thread, or there's like an indigo life purpose, and they have to live that out. But you already have, I can see that you already have loads of crystal energy anyway. So what you're having really is you're having, hello, Angela. I think
Hi,
must be one of your friends.
Hello.
Yeah, so what you're going to have is an upgrade to the function of your aura. So you've already got a lot of crystal energy in your way of being in the world. Your love, intelligent, balanced energy. And you want to create a new way and share health and love, with people. And that's very crystal.
Okay.
You just have the look as well. You can kind of see it. Like people like yoga teachers and primary school teachers, they have that crystal energy. You can kind of just feel and see it on people. But they don't have the crystal aura structure.
Okay.
So when you have an aura transformation, we're like dissolving the old aura, so that you can have more freedom in your crystal energy. I think that's the way.
Yeah, I hear you. So that your radiance is kind of matching that crystal energy in a sense.
Yeah. Well, basically the old aura is becoming a bit like a VHS. Like
Okay,
we can do Facebook. Do you want to watch a VHS video or do a Facebook Live? It's kind of a bit cumbersome, and it's becoming sticky and full or holy and leaky. It's actually struggling. The old aura, I mean, some people's auras are strong and it's fine, and their life purpose is in that third dimensional aura. They teach, say, modalities that work on the third dimensional aura, the old aura. But some people, the old aura is just not really working for them anymore. It's like holding them back.
Yeah,
it's full.
So you mentioned 3 dimensions there, and I'm really interested in this whole topic of sort of ascension from 3D to 4D to 5D. Would you say that this is something a bit similar with the upgrade in consciousness?
That is it. This is it.
That's it. Exciting.
Yeah, this is it. So the old aura is seen as the third dimension. And when you talk about dimensions, it's not really a hierarchical thing.
Oh, no.
It's not. It's more, I see it more like being in the same building but going up in a lift.
Yeah.
So
or
when you're that's. Yeah. And so they see it as the third dimension is where the old aura lives, and that's highly populated with lots of different kinds of energy. It's a very dense sort of place to be, but that might be for the next video.
Next discussion.
The indigo aura, the indigo kids, they live in the 4th dimension. They call it the bridge. It's the bridge. And then the crystal aura is in the 5th. And then you keep going. It doesn't stop there. So once you've crystallized, as we call it, which might be a good question, I don't know, but once you crystallize your crystal aura, then you start integrating your elements and your network and your purpose, and then that's how you go up in the dimension. So it just means that your consciousness and your perspectives and your conception of the world you're in is just expanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what you can achieve is expanding.
I know that these might be really big concepts for a lot of people who are new to this kind of terminology, like 3D, 4D, 5D consciousness, ascension, auras in general. We're all talking about sort of energy and frequency. And it's something that a lot more people are becoming accustomed to being talked about, but in a sense, the idea that we are all vibrating on different frequencies, and that 3-dimensional frequencies are just, like you said, like denser and lower. What would you say is like the experience of getting your aura transformed? Like after your aura transformation, what is the general experience? What do people feel? What did you feel?
Wow. I'll go with what other people feel because it's just like recent, I've been aura transforming people recently. So, I mean, I can just see that certainly once the old aura is dissolved in the session, there's just so much, it's like clouds have lifted. And there's like, I don't know if you've ever been in a room with a woman that's just had a baby, but that energy, the newborn baby energy, it's like really pink and fluffy and lovely energy is in the room. It's a bit like that. And so it's just this crystal clear clarity. It's so hard to describe the crystal energy, to be honest. All the images, I can try and show you an image here. All the images in the book, for example, I don't know if it'll show up, but the crystal energy is like all these tiny little
sort of multicolored fragments.
Yeah, but like it's crystalline, literally like a latticey matrix of crystal clear facets, and it sparkles. And when people get excited, little white flashes come, and you know that they're talking about something that's important to them, or that their higher self is really stoked about. But the whole point of having an aura transformation, apart from having the new protection if your aura is broken, is to embody your higher self or your spirit energy and your consciousness. That's what really differentiates an old aura and a crystal aura, is that the higher self in the old aura is outside the body, and in the crystal aura is in the body. And the crystal children today are born embodied.
Yeah, because I remember from seeing the book that in the old aura structure, you're kind of connecting to your higher self in the sort of periphery of your aura. So aura is like the middleman between your body and your higher self, or like source energy or whatever. And then that's now coming into the heart. Is that right? So like you're almost dissolving the chakra, old chakra system, and you're coming into the heart.
So that's almost two different things.
Okay.
The higher self comes in and like has hands and feet. So it's almost like the higher self comes into the body, into every single cell in the body.
Okay.
So I remember after my aura transformation, like looking at my hands, like, oh my God, I'm in, I used to kind of chat to my higher self occasionally when I could get there. And then suddenly, it or she or that part of me is like in my face, looking at my hands, and I'm like, wow. And then,
Wow.
tasting things and, seeing nature tangibly, like, you could see how alive nature was, like on a different level. It's a really the first few days or few weeks are usually just really blissful and lovely for people. There's sometimes a few dips and like ups and downs as you clear more and more stuff as you go. But generally, the first few weeks feel really great, and then there's this little dip sometimes, not for everyone. And then you're going to go to how good it felt at the beginning, like consistently. So for 5 years, I've pretty much consistently felt pretty good. There's been like little dips and things as life happens and moves and new cities and all that. But apart from that, I have never gone to the depths of feeling as rubbish as I used to, or as mixed up as I used to, or the nightmares, the rubbish relationships, the lack of focus, the no purpose, all that's gone. I feel like I live a life of purpose. My mind has gotten busier over the last few years, but I'm trying to achieve more. So it's not useless mind chatter. It's like, what am I doing and where am I going kind of chatter.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that really got me thinking about, I think this is something that I really need, is when you talked about your experience after your aura transformation. You said that your mind had gone from being this really judgmental and criticizing like chatter to being really quiet and really still and like really observant. And I thought, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, because I feel like that's what I need. That's what I need.
Okay. And I think a lot of people do need it as well. And there's three, from my experience of doing loads and loads of these, hundreds of these, is that there are, and because of the amazing work of Annie Senov and her books, is that there are three general ways that the mind is really, really noisy, and the mental chatter that isn't always pleasant. So I don't know, there's the mean mental chatter, which I think tends to be ancestral imprints. And so the way that the old aura works is that it kind of joins your ancestral imprint. I don't know, it's like trying to explain something like that in a moment. Can you still see me? Because you've gone all blurry.
I can still see you, yes.
Oh,
can you see me?
okay. Well, you're clearing up. You're clearing up now. Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
Hi. So the ancestral imprints is, so we are passed down so much information from our ancestry, in our cells, in our energy field, and some of it is great, like ancestral power, like there's really good gifts that are given to you and passed down through your ancestral energy. But some of it is not great, and some of it isn't useful anymore. And if you think about as an example, the history of women over the last 1,000 years, and how like our grandmothers and our mothers' mothers, they weren't able to fulfill their purpose or to use their gifts, or they were burnt for using their gifts, or, there's quite a heavy history of oppression, even just like the patriarchy in general. And there's just stuff that we are passed down that is not so useful anymore.
Yeah.
And the ancestral imprint can play out in the mind. And this is from personal experience. I realized I had this like kind of low self-esteem, like a mean voice that kept trying to hold me back, trying to make me feel like, oh, I can't be bothered. What's the point in getting up? This sort of like, oh, you're useless. There's no point. I have to sacrifice something, to not follow my dreams. So it was just like, and it started getting worse and worse and worse and worse, It was holding me back. It was becoming louder. And I started writing it down word for word. As often as it came up, I was writing down what it said to me. And I was like, this isn't my voice, This isn't how I speak. This is not how I speak to my child. This is not how I speak to people. This is kind of strange. And it almost took like a character. And then suddenly it hit me that, oh my God, that's like it's like my grandmother's voice was like that at sometimes. And so I realized that, you know, I think it jumps generations as well. And this is, I think, scientific, or like, you know, there's a lot of
I've had
research
that,
on how
yeah.
this works. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of processing your grandmother's stuff on some level, and it all comes through the aura structure. So when I had the aura transformation, that voice disappeared overnight.
Oh, so
Woohoo! I know. It was amazing. I got so much done. I started painting. I started being creative. The little voice had been like, oh, you're no good at that, or you'll lose it, or it's been too long. And I just started picking up things and not having that self-esteem clouding my ability to just create and just to be.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's one reason why the mental chatter might be not very nice or in the way or too loud. It's maybe not yours. It's maybe not your brain. It's actually part of the ancestral imprint. The next thing it could be is the collective consciousness. So the old aura is plugged in to the collective. So in the old aura, it's all our connection to the collective is very cerebral, very mental, very, you know, it's the mind kind of connection. And it can get very noisy. I remember mine used to feel a bit like a discombobulated radio, you know, like, you know, noisy and just, what the hell is this all about? And not very useful.
Yeah.
Hard to focus, hard to make decisions. And that also went away after my aura transformation. So, you know, it could have been either of those. And the third one is if it doesn't go away. So some people have an aura transformation and they're like, oh, wow, all that's going to go away. Like maybe it's my ancestral imprint, maybe it's the collective noise, but it's still there. Then that means that there is some brain gym to do. You know, you have to retrain the neural pathways that you've created of thinking in a negative way, or, you know, the habits of the mind.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
entrenched. It's become entrenched.
Absolutely, and that
So
brings me on to my next point, which is that, you know, I would imagine that there is still emotional processing and personal development and habit building and all that kind of stuff to do. That this is not just some kind of magic solution. That, you know, you still have to do some work, but that it will feel easier and better and quicker, I guess.
yeah. So yeah, it's not a magic wand, and it will not solve all your problems, but it will give you the tools or the oomph and a new perspective, like a different perspective, to be able to do the healing work around the stuff that's got stuck. Yeah. Some of the stuff we hold and carry, our wounds, they become so old that they're kind of part of the furniture, and you're like, oh, I dealt with that, but it's still living there somewhere.
Yeah.
So all these like little pockets, it's like memory pockets or trauma pockets, all that kind of thing, it kind of bubbles up. So some people, you know, I talk quite a lot. I don't know if all aura mediators talk about it quite a lot, but I enjoy the talking about emotional processing and inner work and shadow work and all that, because actually, from my experience, the first, you know, week was amazing. The second week, I was like, crying, you know, like, what's this? And all my old stuff was coming up, you know, little bouts of depression, postnatal depression, old wounds, bitterness and anger that was unresolved in my system. All this sort of stuff was bubbling up, and it wasn't coming to stay, and it wasn't there because it didn't work. It was there because it wants to go. If you want to be crystal clear and have this, you know, this clarity and inner peace and all of that comes with an aura transformation, you have to sift through your stuff. You can't just erase all your karma or all your lessons that you've come here to learn, you know. But it gives you, the aura transformation to me feels like it's giving you a fast track to work through that stuff faster, and it's easier because you're not, instead of being inside the old aura and all your trauma and all your stuff, you're looking at it from another angle, from the fifth dimension, if you want to see it that way.
Absolutely.
So you actually got more perspective on your stuff.
Totally. So you're still you just have an elevated consciousness. So as you say, like you can see it from a completely different perspective, but you're still you, essentially, just an upgraded version.
So so you actually become more you than you were before, because you're not got all this stuff that isn't you still hanging around you, or other people's expectations and energies within and around you as well. And like, to finish the couple of questions ago, you were saying about the heart chakra. Having the expanded heart chakra means that you can actually be, you can have a greater ability to have compassion for yourself and for others that may have hurt you, or that you've harbored some pain around those kind of situations. By having an aura transformation and a much wider heart capacity, you can actually do that kind of healing work and that forgiveness work. That isn't something you can just decide to do. It's something you have to actually process.
Yeah, love that.
So yeah, I found I was able to do deep forgiveness and healing work, which set me free from stuff that had been really painful for me.
Wow. Yeah.
In my old aura.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm actually feeling, and I've been making almost a conscious decision that I won't make any big decisions until after I've had my aura transformation, because I know that I'm not going to, like, my perspective is going to be much wider, and I want to be able to make those decisions from the heart rather than from this kind of vaguely blocked and leaky system that I may be having at the moment. And from reading Annie Senov's work, so the shift started coming in 1987, and I was born in 1988. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having the whole thing upgraded to the current program.
Yeah, so you're really like nearing that, almost an indigo. That was like 92, 93, 94, like down there. So people born, the people I've aura transformed, born in like, 89, 88, 87, they actually have like a really hard time in life. So, you've come out really well. Because you've got one foot in the old world of the, the astral body, the etheric layer, the collective consciousness in the head thing.
Yeah.
You've got that system, and then you've got all this almost indigo, let's change the world, let's make this world a better place, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And that's like a big manifestation energy. So you're trying to squeeze the indigo aura in the old aura. And it's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's not comfortable.
I've experienced a lot of indecisiveness, which I found was actually one of the descriptions of the experience of those kind of halfway people. That there's a deep need in me.
Transition kids.
Yeah, transition kids. That there's a deep need to make an impact and to sort of radically change the world, which can manifest in a lot of sort of pain and almost anger at times, because you're like, why is the world like this? But then also being very almost like conditioned and baggage holding, that kind of stuff. So indecisiveness has been the way that's kind of come out for me. And then moments of absolute clarity too. So I recognize myself massively within that sort of description, which is interesting.
Yeah, so that transition kids, they have their foot in the old established world, like, oh, I have to go to university and get a job, and mum and dad will be really impressed with me then. But then they want to like break it all and change the world and create art and run around and just be artists and musicians, like they're just like not sure which energy to use. So they're like, oh, I want to do it the right way and be a good girl, and I also want to be rebellious. So that's why it's so difficult, this torn.
Absolutely, totally me through and through. Like, should I go down and be a vet, or should I be an artist and just create stuff? And now I'm a health coach, so it's like I've gone a slightly different route to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you're perfectly on track, and it's been a real pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait for you to move down to Exeter.
I can't wait.
But I'm going to have to go because I've squeezed the interview between 2 sessions, and my next one's starting. So
yes,
I think we could do more.
Let's do this again, because I still have some questions that I would love to ask you. So let's do this again in a couple of weeks, or maybe, or definitely before my aura transformation.
Okay, I'll send you some dates. But if anyone has any questions, I'm very happy for them to write in the comments, and I can come back and answer them later on. It might take a couple of days because I've got stuff, but feel free to ask questions. And it was really cool.
It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if people are interested, you can train in aura transformation. That's an amazing way to add to your repertoire if you have practice, or if you want to have it. Great. And well, yeah, I live in Exeter if people wanted to have an aura transformation. And there's a book to read called Balance on All Levels by Annie Senov. You can get it on Amazon,
Should have had it
Goodreads, and
here.
Kindle. Yeah, and so that's the first step. And my website has videos about aura transformation, frequently asked questions, testimonials, all that stuff. So get yourselves informed and ready if you want to go ahead.
Absolutely. Okay, this was
Thank
an
you so
absolute
much.
delight, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again really soon on here on live. I'll see you soon anyway. So,
Okay.
okay,
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
bye.